Halito, halito, halito. Grand Rising Beauties, what's happening, beloveds? How's everybody doing? This is Quarantine Q&A. What's going on with y'all? How's everybody doing in Indian country? I know it's a little craziness going on and shit. But keep in mind, we are the most fantastically resilient people on the planet. And we always make things happen. We know how to make things happen. We're gonna be just fine during these times, and I love seeing that. And that's something that you can almost guarantee. We have learned to take care of ourselves during hard times or troubled times. That's for sure. What's happening, Coach? Grand Rising, good brother. What's up with you? Hope everything is healthy. So I'm gonna drop the hi, Mr. Waltho. How you doing, beloved? What's up, Jomar? What's up, Slim? So I'm gonna drop the link in there. This is an open build. We can sit here and talk about whatever. Let's just shoot the shit. Definitely let's talk about some, American history and things of that nature. Fascinating stories about grandma and grandpa. Y'all know what y'all gonna get with me. You already know what it is. Hi cousin. What's up, Davita? So I just wanted to have an open build. Give folks the opportunity to chop it up, see what's on everybody's mind, how they feeling, how they holding up. You got a quarantine story or issue or something like that. Let's talk about it. I'm gonna drop the link. Let me drop the link so that folks will be able to get in where they fit in. We're not doing too bad. What's up, Ralph? How you doing, Ralph Worley? What's happening? I know I have come to something, and I just want to know because in this, like I would say January, it was definitely January. It was my goddaughter's birthday. And my aunt had made her a cake. I know they were here. Her and my god sister were here the better part of the day. And I was pretty much fine. I generally feel good. In the morning, I'm like full of energy. I'm always ready to go. Totally a morning person. I can get things facilitated and going early. And I go to bed early. But anyway, I got really sick in January. And I remember that day really clear how I was fine. And then at about 2 o'clock, I started feeling a little different, but I kind of shrugged it off. Same thing, like hour after hour, something was changing. I didn't really feel regular. By 8 o'clock, I was looking like, that look that little kids get when they don't feel good, but they still try to play and their eyes are really kind of sunken and glossy looking. Well, that's what I saw in my face. And then I just didn't feel like myself. My body got really tender to the touch, and even like a hug hurt, almost like probably with someone with fibromyalgia may experience or something like that. Um, hey, coach.
What's
Um,
good? What's good?
Everything's healthy, but I think that maybe I had coronavirus back in January. It was so all of a sudden, and I've never had the flu, I don't get sick, but yet I felt absolutely terrible. And it wasn't really much that I can do to comfort myself. And I just, I'm always gonna wonder, is that what I had? Generally a common cold, if I ever have one every few 3, maybe 4 or 5 years even, um, then it's like 3 days, 4 days or something like that. But this was like something that lingered for like almost a month. I think I still have like the residual tension like in my throat just from the dry cough and you know just the way I felt. Now I didn't have any breathing issues or anything like that, and I'm a smoker. But I can still run. I'm very active, so I can still run and you know I don't smoke Newport 100s, but if I smoke the 100, I can still do a 100-yard dash, right? Maybe not 8 seconds, but more like 15. But I can still move around. But I think that I might have had corona and just didn't know it. And then, yeah, I think, and it just took a little longer to heal. But I don't know what the flu is like, so I don't know if that's exactly what I had. But I know it was something that I've never experienced before. Um, so there, that's that. I don't know how anybody else feels, but I actually, it seemed like, what's up, Danielle? I do know several people. Triplet, what's up, baby? I do know some people that actually passed away. So there is, and these are people that I know from my childhood and being from New York City. Basketball player. He used to be a basketball player for St. John's. Being from New York, we are big New York team fans from Syracuse Orangemen to St. John's. I knew Malik Sealy. And this particular gentleman that passed away that played for St. John's, this is Lee Edwards. Okay. And he's actually someone else that I grew up with to date back in the days. So in the 90s. So they all were at a cigar bar, from my understanding, at this particular bar in Westchester County. And a lot of people have now since developed this. So this is something that is really happening. It's not, I don't do all the conspiracy theories and everything, but there really are people hooked up to ventilators and they are completely messed up right now. So whether or not it's this specific corona germ or whatever, it is definitely something parasitic out here that is, is messing people up, especially people that have compromised immune systems and, pre-existing health conditions. So it is definitely important to boost your immune system. Now, there's something that my sister does every single day without fail. I don't care what's going on. My sister chews garlic. She takes a spoonful of cinnamon and a spoonful of honey every single day, sometimes 2 and 3 times a day, right? Other people grab cakes and cupcakes and cookies and stuff to snack on, and my sister will sit there and bite down on garlic cloves, okay? So that's something, and she'll be proud of me. I've been here in New York, she's down south, but I have been chewing on garlic cloves. So the next time she sees me, she's going to be saying that I'm actually taking her advice. I usually don't do that until I start to not feel well. Do I actually listen to what she's telling me to do? But it's definitely some good shit. So yeah. And she's great with giving you things to help you, with your wellness and stuff like that. So shout out to my 20, your sister over here in New York, biting down on the damn garlic cloves. You happy now? I'm sure you are. So what's up, Coach? What's happening with you? Hey, Star Child. What's up, Cop Empress?
I had a good day yesterday, working with people in their business, working my business. Sold out of chicken. I sold out of chicken by like 6 o'clock yesterday. It was a busy day. I fell out. I think I fell out probably before 10 o'clock. I fell out. It was over with. So yeah, we had a good night yesterday. We had a good day yesterday. We're gonna try to do it again today. I got that smoked chicken. Chicken on the stick is what we call it.
No, that's right. The chicken on the stick. I know that's right. Mm-hmm. Good deal. How many pounds you think you went through? 100, 200?
Yeah, about 100. I did a box yesterday.
Oh, that's dope. Yeah, I used to work in the after hours. I'm telling you, I'd went through 200 pounds of chicken a night.
You gotta make people up there to do it. Down here, right. I'm in the country.
That's right.
You do 100 pounds in the country, you're doing damn good.
You're doing damn good. You ain't lying. That is no lie. And our people love them some chicken. That ain't no lie.
I probably fucked up. Messed up by the good 30 piece myself.
That's cool. Anybody, I'm going to drop the link again. Anybody is welcome to come and join us. We ain't doing nothing too crazy. We ain't making too much noise. I just wanted to reach out to y'all, kind of been, just enjoying the quiet. It's been really rainy and, here. I'm kind of trapped here. I had to postpone my flight. Now I'm scared to actually go because we have an aunt that she's in her 90s and a cousin that's in her hundreds. I definitely don't. I know I'm fine, but I don't even want to bring airport cooties anywhere near them. You know what I'm saying? So I'm kind of just here, and it really sucks because I wanted to be back home right now. What's up, Empress Yoka? How y'all doing?
Oh yeah, I had some folks.
So I dropped the link. Anybody can come in and jump in. If they feel like it. What you was gonna say, Coach?
Davita Grand Rising, Copper Empress Grand Rising, Keto and everybody else in the chat, Mr. Walto. How everyone doing this great day? Man, I'm just ready to get to work.
That's right.
I've been putting some bills together, especially not the bills. I've been putting the bills together, but I've been putting together, the the background, the visual part, and everything. I got new beats that I'm gonna put on everybody next week. So it's been kind of busy.
Yes, you have. Yes, you have. I guess we all have. Yeah, you do a lot. I appreciate you so much. Definitely getting it done. Definitely getting it done. A lot
So
going
what you
on in the background. I'm truly saddened that we ain't gonna be able to get together right now, but we are definitely going to get together, and it's just gonna be better. So we'll have the first event that's out smoke as soon as all of this quarantine is over. When everybody's ready to get out of the house, and we're gonna definitely throw down. And we got to do it a little extra just because of some of the things that we've been going through during these troubled times. So we're gonna make it a serious celebration and something that people will absolutely be proud of. I'm pretty much betting my bottom dollar on that.
hmm
Pretty much betting the bottom dollar on that.
But
So
yeah, I think you
uh-huh.
think that how long you think this quarantine is gonna ride? How long y'all think the government's gonna ride this out?
Well, I think it depends on people's ignorance, right? Because they're still in the park, they're still hanging out, more than 10 people. They're definitely not doing the social distancing. I don't know, people are just kind of irresponsible sometimes, even if you don't partake in like conspiracy theories and stuff like that, you kind of got to just use your common sense right about now. So, regardless if you think that there is something out here parasitic really just trashing the place, maybe you should just stay away, because whatever it is, they're telling you to stay in the house for a reason. So as a result, if something doesn't happen now, it certainly could, you know what I'm saying, like at another point in time. So it's just like, I
So you
think
don't think I don't, I ain't trying to hit you with the conspiracy theories, but you don't
Mhm.
think that they trying to get everybody to stay home so they can do whatever it is that they're trying to do,
I
especially
do. Oh
with the
yeah.
sys- with the monetary system. I don't know what's the big. I mean, the 5G.
Hmm.
Everyone's been bucking on the 5G. I've seen a lot of videos and read a lot of articles about it. But
Hmm.
how about they already have 7 and 8G in Japan?
Right.
So
Right.
it's like, are we scared prematurely? Are we fighting over something that's something else? Like we talking about, oh, 5G is doing this and doing that. And is that really 7 and 8G? And we're just
Right.
seeing what could happen or what could come. It's just a lot of things to look at. I think that if a person find out, like you got to do research, like you're doing research on find out who you are, you got to find out your blood type. You need to find out what makes your body tick, what's healthy for your body, what inflames your body, what doesn't inflame your body. You got to find out a lot of things about you. This is a lot about finding out who you are. Once you able to put your everything on high gears and everything, um, you shouldn't have to really worry about a lot of these things that's going on. And the only thing you really have to worry about is, like people say, I'm healthy, is that you probably came in contact with someone else and you took what you came in contact with someone else and gave it to somebody else, which it didn't even bother you. But you might have caught the bug from somebody else or rubbed some metal or something that stuck on you, and now you didn't came out and went and seen somebody and they might not be too healthy, and you give them a hug, and now you didn't put it on them. I guess it's a lot of ways that you can push this virus on people, and say they hold your hand and they mess around and wipe their face or something like that. It's a lot of ways to contract it. So just because you're healthy doesn't mean you can take it home to grandmama or your great aunt or anyone else. So I think that's the biggest thing about staying home, that I see. But it's a bigger, like someone said, busting a lot of child sex rings lately. It's been a lot of that going on. It's been a lot of bailout companies been going on. People making bad investments.
Yeah.
They're being bailed out, not just the banks. You got a lot of that going on. Someone said monetary switch from cash to digital currency. I seen a post with a bank in the had a I don't know if people seen it, but it was a bank had a billboard inside the train station, and it had that your DNA will be will be your, you know what I'm saying, your access to your money or something like that. I'm gonna see if I can find it. And a lot of that's going on. So with this hard reset is what they call it, with folks getting back home. I think most people are thinking about what they can do with this money that they're about to get instead of thinking about setting up for what if the fall flu bug comes again. So are you just gonna, you know what I'm saying, just think about now, live for today, or are you gonna prepare? Was this just a scare? Will we never see this again? Um, well, what's going on? So that's a lot to talk about when you start talking about this coronavirus. It's so many angles you can come at it. It's just like, man, well, how are we going to handle this, and what's the best message to give folks? You don't really want to give them a scare message, but you want to be kind of like, yo, this was going on. People are still dying from it, even if it's a conspiracy. But what if people are just dying from natural causes and they saying it was corona? You know what I'm saying? So it's just it's like right now I got people guessing, and you got so many different theories coming at you. A lot of people don't know which way to go. So for me, it's just gonna be basically just like Empress Yoka just said, growing my own food, building with those close to me, my neighbors, my family, and trying to put something in place to be be able to take care of ourselves. I think that's the best thing that anyone can do. Through all of this shows you that the government system or the government company can crash at any moment. So if the government was to crash, you left on your own, why not take this little funds they got and prepare to, even if it don't crash in the future, to where it's almost like a gun. You'd rather have it and don't need it than need it and don't have it, if y'all get what I'm saying. And start preparing on making your own funds. I made a post yesterday about sitting down and really figuring out what it is that you're gonna do to run your own company, to run your own business, to be able to take care of yourself. That's like the hardest thing that a lot of people are avoiding, because we didn't got comfortable working for companies and doing this and doing that. But at the same time, we forgot that, look, when I get off work, I need to go spend an hour on myself. I'm not about to do this forever. I'm not about to work for this company forever. I got to get my own company, get my own family in it. What they say, they are just taking people who are already sick and saying that. That's what that's what I'm saying. So if that's the case, but we don't know what's going on, all right? Because somebody posted the other day that once you get the flu, you're gonna automatically come up positive for coronavirus. So who knows what's real and what's ain't? But what I can say is a lot of stores got shut down. 3 million people lost their jobs. Over so many thousands of companies got shut down due to this social distancing. It's a lot of stuff going on. So now it's like, okay, what if this was to happen again? What you gonna be prepared for? I don't want to go out there to the rush. If they do put out a real virus out, I don't want to be out there fighting with folks over groceries and bringing that stuff back home. So you got to get back home and do what you got to do with your loved ones, or if you don't have family members, you know, someone that you work with, or if you're by yourself, figure out a way to start growing your own food and making it a habit to live off of your, you know what I'm saying, yourself. Use the funds that you have now to prepare yourself for the future. And that's the best thing that I can give anyone, because I can't sit here and tell you what's real and what's not. But I can help you prepare for if it is real, and just to be prepared the best that we can. Let me see. 10 million people is targeting for total shutdown. Well, that's 12 million in New York. Then ain't no telling how many in what's that in California. So this it's millions and millions of people. That is correct. A lot of people getting shut down, and a lot of people are not prepared.
Shout out to the bud men with all of the beautiful flowers during this rough time. Shout out to them. You know what I'm saying? They still keeping the flowers going. Enough love, much respect.
Well, you know, that's like food. That's gonna grow. It ain't like you got to go to no lab to get that. That grow like the food do.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So now we do certainly know that there is tons of things going on in the background, but they have been going on. So when it comes down to 5G, this is something that, was should have been looked upon 4 or 5, maybe even 10 years ago. We knew that it was coming. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we're always being surprised by something that we should see a mile away. Specifically, the things that they're looking to do. So even with all of the conspiracy theories, even with all of the actual, it makes sense. There are some things that are being said about this particular situation with them locking up the sex traffickers, and looking for other people and issuing out warrants for this 70,000 plus elite people. That is actually happening. Those are real things. I don't want to minimize them like it just chalk it up to conspiracy theory. But my mind works a little different. Specifically knowing, thank you so much, Amexum, more indigenous knowledge, specifically because I know that we, the people, have the power to change it. So I don't cry about those spilled milk things, because if we actually do something about it, there won't be any COVID-19 tests that'll take our DNA and where they're allowed to store it. If we, the people, say something. It's only when we don't say anything, especially during these times, that these laws are actually being passed. So while this thing is going on, is anybody paying attention to what the Senate is doing? Is anybody looking and peeking in to see what your Congress is doing? Has anybody reached out to their congressman for any specific things? Shout out to Cousin Davita, because she actually did contact her congressman, and this was specific to what was happening during this, the onset of the corona outbreak, where they started exposing it. And it was just for, the basic things that affect her directly. So shout out to Cousin. And that's something now, if they get 30 calls from people in her neighborhood with the same beef, with the same gripes, the same concerns, then guess what? That particular individual has to be compelled to do something, right? So when it comes down to these things, I don't really look at the pessimistic, oh, well, they're going to do this and they're going to do that. They're only going to do what we allow them to do, right? Sometimes it's by saying nothing. And we all know that acquiescence is the same as saying, okay, yes, we're having it. You understand what I'm saying? So what are the people going to do? This is the attitude that I have, and I know it seems harsh, but I'm very direct with the shit. What we going to do? All that crying, what is the baby going to do? Right? I don't want to be the only a part of the only crowd that is looking to really force some sort of change, right? This is not no make-believe social media shit. This is real life. I want what's best for my family. I want what's best for the people that my family interact with too. What's good for mine is good for yours too, right? I don't want to have steak and you forced to eat oodles and noodles. Why we all can't have steak? And if you don't want the steak and you choose oodles and noodles, let that be your option. Not your only selection. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I think people are really confused by the things that, and I don't want to act like I speak for every American Indian that was misclassified either. But in no means am I saying I'm just the complete voice for how this is supposed to go and turn out. But I know what my role is, and I know what part I'm going to play in it. And I'm inserting myself in a position that I know that I can handle, regardless of how many people think they're going to knock me off this horse. It's my horse, and it is hot, and I'm not ashamed of it. And I'm going to keep riding on it. So these are some of the things that we're going to have to make sure that we are changing. So a lot of these other distractions and stuff like that is to slow down the process of that. It's to slow down the process of it. And it seems to work every single time. We are consumed by media. We are consumed by propaganda. We are consumed by all of this. It's really gossip. People have such a strong disdain for a person that does not generally lie to them, because what Trump says out his mouth is not appealing. It's not smooth. He's not a smooth talker. He's not finessing anybody. He is the most unbothered person. And that's kind of like a characteristic that I'd like to fucking develop. That man is unfucking bothered. He gets dragged through the mud every goddamn day. Everybody can't stand him. Everybody hates Chunk. Right? What was that lady calling him? Chunk. But you know what? That shit does not stop that motherfucker from calling a shot. Very resilient man. We could take these negatives and turn them into positives. And I'm looking at some of those characteristics. If our people can develop some of those unbothered characteristics, do you know the type of shit that we would be able to accomplish? And I happen to know the type of shit that we are able to accomplish. And I feel very strong with that, specifically because I have had some of my own nano victories. I've had them. I get to share those experiences with people. I have live, tangible people that can say, God damn it, all I had to do was this, that, and the third, and this result, this is the result that I got. Thanks, Phoenix. Thanks, Moon. I got it from here, right? These are the type of things. So now if we can multiply that generationally and make sure that our children are knowing what it is, what do they know what it's like to be usurped? Is that word even inserted in their vocabulary? Are they aware of some of the things that are set out against them? Do they know what to identify when people are trying to Jedi mind fuck them as far as their history and tangible bloodline, his relativity to this land is concerned? What are we going to do? Because I could tell you right now, we've just seen a perfect example that you can't teach some of these grown motherfuckers nothing. Can't teach them. They've been around 5 years. They still, lacking some of the things that we have all been developing during this time. A lot of us kind of just grew together, and there's some that kind of just lag behind. They're not willing to pick up the work. They're not willing to pick up the slack, and they're not willing to do the work. Why do we have to waste time on those type of people when we can focus on the people that's doing what needs to be done? Those are the people that we have historically learned and been trained to forget. We focus on these people that make this particular type of noise, but they don't get no goddamn results. And then there's a whole silent majority of people right here that has every tool necessary to make the machine work beneficially for the American Indian. Why doesn't it, resonate internally, spiritually, financially, mentally? It has to resonate with you in order to be activated. It's important. I think it's very important. Let me drop that link again for the new people that are coming in. At the top of the morning to everybody. It's an open bill. Don't be shy. You got a question? Come on in, sit down and talk. We ain't biting nobody head off.
Yeah, I ain't jumping on nobody.
Yeah, we ain't jumping on nobody. Let's have some discussions. You see the link there. It's available. You're definitely more than welcome to come on here. You got something to build on, something to share. A little spicy meatball, nice little caviar, juicy caviar or something like that. Drop it on it. We'd love to hear from you. Let me see. Danielle said, Grandma said you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. Ain't that the truth? And she sure did say that quite often. Quite often. And we know that to be a fact. But at some point, they get bright, Raj, yeah, what's up, beauty? But at some point, they get too thirsty. They ain't got no choice but to drink the water, right? And the sad shit about it on the flip side of that is they'll still want you to lead them back to the water that they refused to drink in the first place. Ain't that some shit? You got to stop being so codependent. I'm telling you, especially upon foolishness. And really, I think it's a matter of pecking order too. We got to understand some of these things. You want to hang out with people that are smarter than you. You don't want to just be the smartest person in the bunch, because people become dependent on you in a way that you become an enabler instead of really like a teacher. You know what I'm saying? Drop the jewels and step off. See what they do with it. So for the people that, she didn't do the genealogy, I asked her, how far did you get? If that was 3 years ago and you was in my inbox doing that and you still stuck at the same place you was 3 years ago, did it dawn on you why maybe I stopped responding? You're stuck on 1/3 great grandmother. That's 32 grandparents you have. That means if you can't find one, there's 31 other grandparents to find. How is that my fault? It's not. And I have to break it down in these ways so people can look at some of the errors that they make and why I have strategically pulled myself back from a lot of this stuff. I couldn't build with people. You've seen all these people selling all these wild packages, making all these promises and shit like that. I couldn't even put together some practical information that why wouldn't I charge a little $30 for it? I ain't promising you selling you all the water under the goddamn bridge, but I'm going to give you some foolproof shit that's going to help you on your way. Not no useless shit that you done seen on YouTube or link to a goddamn video saying this or saying that. No. I'm showing you how to take your own ancestors and turn that shit into your head rights. which nobody can deny. You like being denied, keep ignoring the shit. You can keep ignoring it till the cows come home. It's not gonna, hurt anybody else but you and your progenitors, and maybe a little shame or embarrassment to the antecedents, but that won't be my fault. So now it's like a lot of things you have to absolutely cut out because people have abused this process. And in the process of these things happening, there's been no protection, right? Because they have invaded this community and saturated it with a bunch of bullshit and then got the nerve to have this commonality where they all like to point the fingers at the people who got the clean hands and never made no false fucking promises. It's a problem. So we're seeing the same things that happened during these other eras where our ancestors were not so successful because they were dealing with these opposing forces. And decades, centuries later, 2020, we have the exact same thing, right? So I'm pretty sure if my ancestors didn't like these motherfuckers, I'm sure that for whatever reason, it has been passed down. I don't like these motherfucking descendants of theirs now. It's probably the same thing. Maybe it's the same shit with the, those ne'er-do-wells that belong on Ancient Island. Maybe their fucking ancestors have always hated mine for centuries. It goes both fucking ways. Right? But the biggest threat is people knowing their tangible bloodline history. That goes across the world. It's not just for the American Indian. That is for everybody. It's for everyone. It's for everyone. And I think people are having a hard time understanding that. So, anybody in the chat, y'all got any questions? What's up, Awake the Red Pit? What's up, beloved? Y'all got any questions? I'll drop the link in there. Anybody could jump on. If you want to just say good morning, you want to shout some people out somewhere else, jump on the link, shout your people out, doing what you do. Let me see if there's something. I wanted to show something. Let me see. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can pull this up. I'm going to do a little screen share.
All right. Do you think the stimulus? Sandra Blockman says it's a trap when you do the 1040. It puts you back in their hands. That's why they extended the filing deadline. Well, I think that the stimulus package is, we're going to pay for it. How the government going to give you some money? The government ain't got no money. It's your money. So they're going to give you your own money. They're going to print out some money, and then they're going to tax you to pay it off again. That's all. That's it. You just, ain't nobody else paying for it. You paying for it. At the end of the day, those that paying taxes anyway. If you filing taxes, then you getting it. Or if you get disability or SSI, and you get that money on the first every month, that money will be direct deposit into your account. So I don't know if it's a trap or not, but at the end of the day, if you paying taxes, you're gonna get it regardless. If you think it's a trap or not, it's, from what I read, it was all to bail out some companies and to try to sweeten the deal. I believe that everyone got raises up on the hill. And what else did I read? That they bailing out all these companies or all these big investors who made bad deals, instead of losing their money. They bailed them out. Right, money goes right back to the system, and it also is going to be like a little kind of push because people gonna go buying things that they ain't bought. If you're smart, that light bill, and if you ain't paying your light bills, and if you out of work, better pay them bills, because all of it's gonna be due in about 4 months. You got about 4 months of bills on that title. So if you think low interest rate now, just wait a little bit. They're gonna go even lower. I think it's zero trading. But that's between the banks and that's between the banks. But um, you just got to really, really, really focus on what makes you and your family, tick. What type of business that you and your family can do. Let me see. That money also pumps up the. That's right. You know it's going to do, but it also lowers the value of the dollar as well. You throw $6 trillion in the system, everything goes up. The price of everything goes up. The value of money goes down. Yes, big corporations are getting bailed out. Let me see money. Yep. Now also, it's more than just that check. If your job laid you off and say like let me see. Say you get unemployment. So say if you make it, say if they send you like 350, unemployment really don't be that much. But say you getting like $400 a week now from unemployment because you normally was making pretty good money, but now they didn't cut you down to $400 a week unemployment. What they did with this stimulus package is, once you file for your unemployment, say they only giving you $200 a month for unemployment, they're adding $600 on top of that. So when you get your $200 employment check, now it's going to be $800, and it's going to be for the next 4 months, or until your company starts back working, or until you get back to working again. So they are doing a big lookout for the people. I guess they're trying to keep everything moving. So it's way more money being pushed than just the them checks coming. It's gonna be people getting checks every week. They give us $1 million a piece, we'd be straight out of $2.2 trillion. Somebody did their math. Well, if they did that, the price of everything gonna go up. Cause then who gonna go wash the toilets if they got $1 million? Who gonna take out the trash if everybody got a $1 million? Who gonna do it?
Right, that would be such a crazy situation. And at the point where if everybody do got $1 million, a loaf of bread gonna be 999, 999,999.
No,
Okay.
it's gonna be like whatever a dollar is. Like say if a loaf of bread is like a dollar 105 or 225, you probably gonna pay 2,200 for the dollars gonna be gone. The dollars and hundreds is just gonna disappear. A dollar is gonna become 1,000. They're gonna come up with $1,000 bills. the thousand gonna be the new dollar,
Which they used to have before. They can recirculate that. That was prior to the Federal Reserve. They had $1,000 bills, I believe, $10,000 bills. Straight up
yeah.
monopoly
That's
money.
what's gonna happen. You're gonna get 1, 5,
Confederate dollars.
10s, 20s, 50s, and the $100 bill will be the $100,000 bill. So basically, they really ain't gave nobody no money. They can't give everybody a good million, though. It won't happen. Hustlers will make something happen. Yeah, but at the end of the
Ain't
day,
that the truth?
somebody got to go produce. Everybody got money, so everybody can buy enough to where they won't need to see them no more. Everybody's gonna have land. It's just gonna be too much. Too much. A lot of people gonna lose their money on dice games. It's just gonna be too much.
Everybody got a goddamn Bentley.
Like on Dave Chappelle. He's now the richest man. I won it in a dice game. So yeah, it's just we gotta be just smart, and like the funds that you do get, you just gotta use them to what's best for you and what you got going on to keep you going for a long periods of time.
That's right. That's right. I know definitely. I think this was an eye opener for a lot of people, though, the situation, because now people want to get active, especially with even just starting simple gardens in their house. I spoke with one of the good sisters yesterday. Celestine, and she had actually complimented something that Chief Warhorse had mentioned a couple of months ago. And as far as being able to grow things, so she has stuff that she's going to be able to pick soon. It's going to be right for the picking now, but she was able to do this inside of her apartment. So being proactive since December or November, and now here it is. She's actually going to have stuff that'll sustain her and her family, and it couldn't have happened at a better time. So her, shelter in place isn't limited to supermarket trips and stuff like that, where they letting 10 people in at a time. She's got superfood growing in her apartment right now. So shout out to Sister Celestine. And that goes back to if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. You know. So shout out to that. Hopefully, we'll start being better prepared for disasters and things of that nature. You know.
All people got to do is go out in your front yard, find that little grass, dig you a hole, and drop a fruit tree in that motherfucker. If everybody on your street had a fruit tree in the front yard, guess what? Y'all got some groceries now. It might seem crazy, but just think, oh, they got that fire fruit up the street. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody got to put fruit out the world. Like, you put your personal in your backyard, but you put that one tree up there on the front. That's a change right there. They're probably passed the city ordinance to make you tear them trees down. Cause now you ain't hungry. Like, man,
and then
you're
pass that ordinance, and then again, the people will ignore the fact that statutes and codes are not law. Are they going to challenge the people on that?
Somebody got to tell them that. See, people need to know that. That's all.
Right. That's the fact.
And people ain't gonna be looking for that knowledge until you finally get them on the bandwagon to put up that tree, and then they put that tree up, and then the city come with the BS, and people gonna be like, what can I do? This is not right. The kids can grab a fruit any day. They're not going to the corner store to get the candy because they can just come up the street and get them some fruit. They don't want you to do that. It's almost like feeding the homeless. A lot of cities pass statutes and codes to keep you from feeding the homeless. You get caught, you go to jail.
Agreed. That's why you put them in your backyard. That's absolutely right. Shout out to California. You walk out the front door and we had lemon and grapefruit trees to the right. And people you can kind of just get what you want. Like if they fall down, it's yours. Like nobody's like, hey, don't pick that up. Leave that alone. The people don't care. You can drive by and be thirsty as hell. Especially in Inland Empire where you have those desert temperatures where it can reach a blazing 112 or 13 degrees. You see an orange and you're able to get that until you get a quarter mile away just to get to a store. Man, listen. That is how people survived out there, I'm sure. It didn't just start. But the luxury of being able to have that in your backyard, the plums and, just the things that you're able to grow. A lot of that is the reason why, to be able to see flora and fauna is the reason why I will not move to certain places. As much as I love Arizona, there's not enough greenery for me. So that means that, those dust storms are really serious. I don't have any asthma or respiratory issues, but I'd imagine that you'd be triggered quite often. Just the landscape alone, it's not great for the garden. You know what I'm saying? Even a greenhouse would still absorb sweltering temperatures that could be potentially harmful to a lot of the vegetation that you're trying to grow anyway. So you definitely want to look and see what the city ordinances are where you're at, because you can go to work one day and come home and see that they chopped your damn garden down, took all your stuff, and won't nobody tell you what happened. They'll say, oh, I saw a city truck pull up, but you won't be able to get in touch. That actually happened here at a community garden in New York in the Bronx a couple of years ago. And some of us had watched when they started putting the things. It was I forget which community it was. But it was really refreshing to see. And this is during the the Obama administration, where all you saw was, our young men getting shot without guns and things of that nature. It was, a series of those images that were being perpetuated everywhere you look. So there was this specific community in the Bronx, and I had followed them because they all got together. You talking about a bunch of squabbling neighbors that generally would have had beef with each other, and somebody steps in, the hood mom steps in and brings everybody together, and they all put this garden together. Now everybody's going to eat and benefit from the garden. folks from 8 to 80 have contributed to this. And then when they came back to do the harvest, the city of New York had chopped all of their shit down, took all of their stuff, and it was essentially nothing that they can do. So you have to have things a certain amount of inches or from the ground in order to come and whack your shit down. So we've seen these kinds of things happen. So people need to definitely check. And that was probably back in 2014, 2015, because I remember following them and being able to see the start from the planting to the time that it was actually time to harvest, and just a bunch of beautiful eggplants. And not only did they take all of the stuff, but they kind of like just destroyed it again. Like I've never, and you never really heard from them. You never heard what the clapback was, if they were able to find any resolve or get some sort of resolution behind that. But I do remember how angry I was that no one defended them. No one, not even the hood gangsters even defended something like that. You know what I'm saying? So it just shows how there's some people that really love their community, and then there's others that just don't give a damn. So even down to, okay, you probably can't stop the city from coming and destroying a community lot or anything, but there still should have been a number of people that went to the city to complain about what had just been destroyed. Well, and I don't think the activism is serious enough to where they'll start to take people of color seriously.
Phoenix, we got to stop waiting to see what they're gonna do, because see, people invest too much time, money. That takes a lot out of a person when they didn't put all this together, spend time, their own money, neglected people to get jobs and different things done, and then out the blue, the city just pops up and boom, tear down your business or your whatever you got going on, your food or your garden, your community garden, or whatever you didn't work and slaved over, or even if it's a children's group home. They shut that down. That's like a punch in the face, a beat over the head with the chair. It's kind of hard for a person to get back up from that. So from my mistakes of trying to help and seeing how the city will bust you upside the head, I think before you even go waste your money putting something together, because we so eager to get something done to where we want to show something right now. I think wherever you're gonna put that together at, I think you need to go down there to the city with a whole bunch of folks. You need to talk with your people, and you need to go down there with your fans and with your families and friends, and you need to go down there and harass the community folks and get some stuff changed and passed, so you can do what you all want to do before you go waste your time and go down there and buy up all this property and stuff, and then they go send these crazy folks to go tear your stuff up, talking about some by law such and such and such. I think we gotta start fighting our cases in advance, like going down there and bucking on them folk.
That's right, especially in numbers. That's right. Bring your own jury with you.
That's right, because if your own peers,
your own peers.
That's right, because if you don't go down there in numbers, they're gonna be like, nah, get him out of here. But if you go down there in numbers and then they buck, when it's time to vote folks in and out, folks know who gonna have a job and who don't. So
that's right.
That's the only reason why. And folks talking about voting, you gotta vote where you live at if you want something to change. I mean, I'm not talking about these big elections, but if you dealing in the community, it's stuff being passed in your community that goes against everything that helps the community right now. So if you're not paying attention to what's going on in your community, then you're not helping your community at all. I'm just saying. So the community, you're gonna have to get with some people in your community, pay attention, and you got to go down there. Whatever you all decided you all want to do, you got to go down there and tell them, say, hey, we about to do such and such, such and such over here on the corner lot of such and such and such and such, and we don't want to hear nothing. We own this lot. This is what we doing. Don't even come over there with the what's the name. You know what I'm saying? And have a whole bunch of folks behind you when you go down there. Because most of the time, they main fault is we don't need that right now, or the community doesn't need that right now. But if you have the whole community down there with you, it's kind of hard for them to say that when you got the whole community down there telling you what they need.
That's right.
So it's gonna take some planning And it's gonna take some getting off of YouTube and going to talk to everybody in your community, especially like in our like we got different sections. Like every city got different sections where you call it by. Like when I stayed in Chicago, I stayed in Woodlawn, or you had Ingleston, or you had this, or you had that. Um, you just gotta work in your community and start setting an example for other communities to be like, yo, them folks on the ball over there, we about to get out of here and do the same thing that they doing and start building these communities. That's the only way anything's gonna get done, y'all. I'm telling y'all, if y'all want to make this thing work, you're gonna have to get out there and get with your folks and go push down there on them folks and tell them what's about to be done. That's all you gotta do.
That's right. And look, this also goes both ways too, because I think people are confused. You can't be anti-government and then
the same thing over and over and over and over again.
I'm sorry.
Them folks smashing folks stuff up, and I've seen the things. I didn't seen them took a bobcat and go straight through a garden and just demolish it like it was nothing. And then it also like they feel like they're losing control too. Folks feel like they can when folks start feeding themselves, hold up now. Wait a minute. We got a problem. And then like somebody just said that you can take the free compost, wake the red pit.
Yes,
we can also get our own compost with our own leftover fruit and vegetables. So if you got somebody on a mission just going by all these trees now, and someone also said that's why you put the trees in your backyard. Now I have a very huge pear tree in my backyard, but what I'm saying is we still we don't like folks on our stuff. You know what I'm saying? We don't like folks walking through our yards and stuff like that. You might left something in the back. You don't want nobody trying to get to that fruit tree and see something and take it with them. So what you want to do is, I think that we should it's gonna be hard to start it in the cities. Like someone said they did it in Philly. The video said they used to do it in Philly. But like in these small country towns that a lot of us stay in outside of these major cities, well, our family's been out here forever. We need to get with the people in these communities and start having them where we can start putting trees in the front yard in every household. Make our own ordinance where it's required that every home had a fruit out so many yards from the road, where people can walk down and get the food and don't be in nobody's property and stuff like that. And then you have somebody come around and pick up the bad fruits and stuff like that and use it for compost as well. I think that'll be awesome for every community to start doing. That could be able to do it. That's not a concrete jungle like Chicago, which would be very hard to do. Let me see.
I did wanted to make a point. It's because I noticed that a lot of people that are anti-government, you don't get to call the senator and have full shots.
Got how to get dirty.
Can you hear me, Coach?
Vicky said played in dirt yesterday. That's right. You gotta get back in that dirt and get it right. Right now, your dirt should be turned over if you have a little lot in the back. You should be and got your dirt ready to be planted. Some people no, we don't hear you, Phoenix. You must be muted. Some people use boxes. Like I met a guy, we call him Already because everything he says he answers with already. And I went up to his house and he has these boxes that's about like a little bit at waist high. He got like 10 of them. And then he got some of them. Wait a minute. Oh, they hear me. Oh, yeah, hold on, Phoenix.
Okay. All right. So you can hear me? All right. Okay. I thought I was tripping. I was trying to talk and I realized that you couldn't hear me. Now, what I was saying is you can't not be anti-government and then think you're going to go call a congressman or a representative and say something. You can't be not registered for a particular party, right? Even if you don't agree with one or the other, we can simply create our own political party. But as you can tell, there hasn't been an overwhelming amount of support, right? In regards to that, because I still think people are relying on other sources to kind of make these changes happen for people instead of us creating the circumstance to do what is necessary to create these changes for our people, right? But if you are anti-government, You don't get to call your congressman. You don't get to complain to the representative. You don't get to say too much to the judge. You don't get to say too much to the district attorney. You don't get to really have a say where anybody's going to take you seriously. So you need to be, comfortable with whatever decisions you make regarding how you feel about your own oppression. Because if you are completely anti-government, you hate this and you hate that, you shouldn't be in line to get a $1,200 check, right? That should totally skip you. Things of that nature. The unemployment insurance, they already take it out to check. So if you got laid off or anything like that, it's specifically in a union state, you absolutely, get what you get. You deserve that. You paid into that. But as far as anything else, what would you think that you are actually entitled to? If you don't feel like it's necessary to do whatever it is that your country calls for. When I say your country, New York is the state that I was born in. New York is my country. Whatever my country calls for. At the point where you get full faith and credit, after you've authenticated your birth certificates, then you have full faith and credit in the United States in severalty. So that means that whatever the law is in Alaska, it's going to apply to me here in New York. Whatever the law in California that applied to me here in New York is going to work for me as well there. So those are some of the options and things that you'll be able to do. It's almost like having a passport to do commerce in any of the states without them wanting to arrest me, right? And this is commercial activity talk that I'm giving right now. But for those of you that have come from that section, you know exactly what it is that I'm talking about. Oh, hold on. My sister's here. Let me add her. Hi, Tony. You live, sugar? Tony. And my sister there? What you got? Garlic? I've been chewing garlic. You happy? Are you proud of me? Are you proud of me? So, I'm definitely trying to make sure that people are aware of what their options are. Okay, if you are aware what your options are, then you should know how to move. But if you're anti-government, you do not get to say shit about Trump, who's representing, if you're not participating. Why would you have so much to say about something that you don't participate, engage in, or can't push forward a contribution that's going to make it better, right? Because a lot of people have to stop complaining. You want the dual citizenship. You can have your private. No one on earth, that is your inherent right that no one can take from you. But as a citizen of the United States, there are also some benefits. It's not just what you are subject to. It is some sort of structure and stuff like that. And with that comes these benefits. Now, if you want to enjoy some of these benefits, then you have to be able to prove that you know what it is that you're doing and how to handle your business. It's no one's fault if you don't know how to do it. But if you're anti-government, do you deserve that $1,200 check? If you are so against taxes, why the hell are you still filing them? You see the contradiction here? So there is a lot of things that we can't really hold. We can't really hold our white people to certain things because of the willful participants from the people that say that they're in pain from something, right? If you're saying that this hurts you, you don't want to keep going to the same person that been kicking your ass on every angle and be like, okay, you done broke my ribs. You done locked me in the closet for 10 years. You think I could get a piece of chicken? Are you serious? It's people in your family you speak to for less than what any oppressors have ever done to you and your people as a whole. You got to look at that kind of behavior. And that seems to be a problem that a lot of our people have. You don't want to deal and work out and go through all of the kinks. You don't want to smooth none of the roughest spots out. And the roughest spots is going to be with your own people, your own family, the ones that give you a kidney if you need it, that kick your ass all the time. They don't always treat you right. They don't always listen to what you got to say. They do love you, but they may not even like you all the time. Hell, you may not even like them all the fucking time. But they're yours. And you can't do nothing about it. You can't undo it. But people have more trust for strangers, more faith in strangers than they do in the people that they've known all their lives. The people that are actually woven and connected to them via bloodline and everything else. That's got to suck. But these are some of the things that are in the way of our progression. As it stands right now, there is still a Negro in America that trusts a white person, stranger, that gets up there and tell them some shit and won't believe me when I ask them, where did the Indian go? Real simple. Real simple. We don't have to make everything all complicated and dragged out and all this other shit and get into these long astronomical debates. I think we are like way beyond that shit right now. Where's the action? We are in the thick of it right now. And this is where people are going to need to snap out of it. Just like Sister Rebel said, and I'm so glad that video went viral. And Mr. Davis had introduced me to her. I did get to speak to her once briefly, but I didn't get to join her on that podcast. And she did this live in the car. And this is somebody that is just, coming out of her slumber, as she puts it. But she gets it. It didn't take much conversation. She actually gets it. She broke it down. It was a dope video. And what she said, it really stuck. It really resonated. And she said, if these people ain't woke by now, leave their ass sleep. And I know that to be a necessary truth. It hurts, but I know that that is the absolute truth. So, we're going to have to figure out some things, but, this is what the No Grandma Killer Tour was about. We want to see the boots on the ground people that's really about that life. I don't got nothing to motherfucking hide. I could I could pass the background check. I really want to help. I really want to do some shit. I don't mind being up in these pilgrims' faces. I'm not afraid of them. I'm not afraid of these niggas either that think that they're going to stop me from saying what I got to say on behalf of me and mine. I don't got to speak for yours, but you ain't going to shut me up for speaking for mine. This is an open forum. And if they don't like the truth, the power that I speak regarding mine, then do it for yours and do it on your own fucking platform and it'll be just fine. But this is what we're trying to do. This is the work that we're trying to put in. And this is the people, these are the people that we want to work with, the like-minded people. I want to find some new friends that's smarter than me and older than me. Right? I want to find out some people that know way more than I know. Doing way better than I'm doing. With way more experiences than I've had. Can't do no dumb down people. I'm running out of fucking people to hit up. Running out of calls to answer because it's all about the same old goddamn bullshit. About the same old goddamn bullshit. Conversations have changed. The nature and tone of the conversations have in fact changed. And damn sure it has nothing to do with victimhood and everything to do with victories. That's all I'm looking to predict about the future. They wrote this shit down. Ain't been a team of Negroes in America that ever used these laws to beat these same fucking oppressors that's been fucking us up for 500 years. They wrote this shit down. This is not a Phoenix Moon opinion. This is not a Phoenix Moon says, hey, y'all got to do X, Y, Z. Motherfucker, it's the law. And you could pay a lawyer $100,000 to interpret the law for you, and he's still going to lie to your ass, and you still going to lose out on some benefits as a result thereof. And there's nothing you do about it. Nothing. Not much people will do about it either. Because you're still relying on people for things that's necessary and detrimental to your survival or not. It's a lot of trust you got in fucking strangers, but you can't trust your cousin Jimbo to pay you back that $20 fucking he need to get car fare to go back to work. You see how that shit work? See how that shit work? Mm-hmm. Trump, the only fucking president that didn't promise, we're going to fix education. We're going to make sure everybody has jobs. We're going to make sure that he ain't tell all them motherfucking lies. That nigga said, these fucking foreigners getting the fuck out of here. And fuck this, and fuck that, and fuck this, and fuck that, and fuck that too. You want to know what? Even if he ain't for me, even if he ain't for Phoenix per se, the reason why Phoenix would support is because he got beef with the same motherfuckers that been stealing my goddamn history. Why do y'all think these white people hate him so? Why do y'all think? People in ignorance will say, they hate him so much. Even white people hate him. That's how much of an asshole he is. No. He's calling them out on this shit. Whether it's indirectly or not, if you know the fucking history, you know he's going after specific people. And he had that vendetta for a long time. More power to him, because those people been raping and pillaging the village for a mighty long time. And it's looking like he's not discriminating. Because ain't no Negro the head of no goddamn sex trafficking wing. These are the niggas at the low bottom on the totem pole. You best believe that. They may be working for the man that work for the man that work for the motherfucking man. And Trump just happens to be that dude that's like, yeah, I ain't with none of that. I promise you I'm going to get all you guys. And I'm fucking okay with that. I'm absolutely okay with the fact that he is pushing the rights of indigenous women here in America. I'm okay with that. You know why? Because look at the fucking shit that we got to deal with. Look at what we got to deal with. So when you have people like Wild Fox and all these other people making all these threats and shit like that, documented on paper, on record, I am an indigenous woman of America. So this is why we're going to have to start making examples out of a lot of people. Because I can prove that the Pan-African community, the RBG community, the Native American, socially, this community have committed hate crimes against the American Indian. Y'all niggas think it's a game. It's really not. Hate crimes. You see it as a hate crime if I was a colored gay woman, though, right? But it ain't a hate crime for a straight American Indian woman, right? Y'all think so? Some of the harassment, the trolling, you know, the shit that gets in the way. A lot of y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all been around just as long as me. Y'all been tired of this shit just like I have. But we're going to have to start hating our own skin folk with some of these hate crimes because they are fucking committing them. It ain't just a bunch of mayonnaise colored people that I got an issue with. It's some of these melanated monkey Negroes that I got a fucking problem with. We're going to call y'all out too. Y'all not getting off the hook. And we not going to stop telling these men, stop letting these Negroes in the motherfucking community that's coming to rape and pillage the village. If you can't make us feel safe, don't talk that feminist shit. We'll protect ourselves. You think we won't? Don't we always do it? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Hate that it has to be done like that, but please love the fact that it will get done. We're going to protect our people, whether the males feel important to do it or not. Y'all going to not stop letting these Negroes in the village. You're going to stop letting them around. You don't do something, we will. You don't do something, we will. We're going to be consistent. We ain't going to play with them. They can't play in the goddamn sandbox. Not today, not tomorrow, or none of that.
Damn, they can't play in the sandbox.
Nah, son, they gotta go. They gotta go. They're a danger to the whole community and what we trying to build. It's only weird to people that can't embrace the fact that this is something brand new that we're doing. No one in the history of this country has ever led no campaign for the people of color as American Indians. Nobody's done it. Nobody has done it. And this is why all these motherfuckers is shook, because everybody been benefiting off of our ignorance. Jigs up now. So yeah, it's some angry people, and we ain't even seen all of the villains. We ain't seen all of the villains. We just seen them on a low level. Just seen them on a low level. And these is the hardest ones to beat. It ain't the last villain at the end of the board. It's these low level Negroes that's here, gatekeepers. They the ones. They the problems.
Damn, the gatekeepers.
But shout out to the ones that's there on the front lines, making sure, you know, there's a bunch of them out there. Shout out my beloved brother Lucius, been smacking niggas down for years. My nigga Lucius never let them jump all over me, y'all. It's just certain people that is just real consistent with showing what they about, yo. Even from a distance. Mad love to you and brothers like Cottrell and Kayshawn Kelly and just a lot of y'all that keep it consistently well, man. I appreciate y'all, brothers, and y'all are the fathers, the uncles, the brothers, the models that we need. Those are the ones that we need to make sure that we safe, we feel safe, and you know, y'all for the community, and it shows, and we appreciate y'all, and we hope that shit multiplies. Hope it multiplies on a grander scale.
We need mothers and daughters
Now,
retreat.
yeah, I think that is a absolute truth right there. I think that is so serious.
Well, be
I think
careful
that
what
is
you
an
ask for.
absolute truth that we can use, we can stand.
Be careful what you ask for.
Go ahead, coach. You can chop it up for a second. I gotta excuse myself for a second anyway.
Yeah, my headphones had died and I didn't hear you. I just seen you in the chat. I'm like, what? I took the headphones off and I turned on the regular speaker. You were going in. I said, damn, I ain't even hear none of this. So my bad. I wasn't trying to. I just didn't hear you. But yeah, that's the mother and daughter retreat, the father and son retreat. We actually been working with, but it wasn't like the mother and daughter. It was more like
A family thing, yeah.
right. And it's been that's been in the build in the process. And that's why I was talking about going down there and yelling at them folks, even though you're on private property, doing your own thing. If you wanted to do something at a very big, larger scale to very impact the community, that's when you have to have the people in the community on the same page as you, and y'all go down there and raise hand. Because that's the only way you're gonna keep them folks feeling like they can do what they want to do. You go down there with a group. Now everybody's not gonna want to go with you, but you take those that do and make it do what it do. Don't take folks coming down talk. Don't let that stop you, because you're gonna have that everywhere you go. I mean, everywhere.
That's right. That's right. Shout out to the brother Callie Williams. Shout out to Slim Bull. Definitely Sean Blackman. Where you at, good brother? You need to be in here. I know he got that Chicago fire. Love to hear that.
Yeah, Sean be going ham. Well, Sean be going ham. But yeah, so we got
Go ahead, coach.
it's a lot. You got a lot more stuff that we are working and bringing to the table. So I had to it's just a lot. We got a lot going on, and I just can't spill all the beans, but
No, we gotta save some, and especially because a lot of it was interrupted with this Corona thing. But the good thing is, we it's gonna be it's a lot of valuable stuff that we're dealing with that we want to introduce to the people. And I know, coach, it's hard to keep it in, but it's hard to keep it in. But loyalty is royalty, and we're all about progressing and progression and making some things happen. There's gonna be some people that talk about it, and then there's gonna be those that walk about it, and that's just really what we looking at.
no, what you mostly gonna get is what I would have did was you get that more than anything. As you gonna, oh, I would have did it like this. Well, go do it then. I'm not stopping you from doing whatever it is you think you would have did. Go do it. And
Ooh wee! Awake the red pig, you just made my millennium because I don't mess with no insects. So I'm glad you said this. Hydroponics might be a better option for me because I am not the animal trainer, okay? I am not the insect whisperer.
yeah, it's a lot easier with the hydroponic system, and they will, when you forget to water your plants, you can put them on time and they'll water themselves. So that's very, very, very key. Also, the lights and everything else can be on a timer as well. So it basically, once you get it all set up right, it basically handles itself.
Yes, I had somebody cracking up the other day. My sister is definitely the animal whisperer, the insect whisperer. If I see a big old honeybee, I'm taking off running. Okay. My sister will call out, "Hey, bee, leave my sister alone." I swear she got these animals under control. I don't play around with her. My sister's definitely the animal whisperer. Her and my daughter. "Hey, puppy, I'm gonna love him and hug him and squeeze him." Yeah, that's not me.
He said he learned off of plenty on YouTube video. I did too. Actually, I like a couple of years ago. It was a dude, he painted himself in paint, and he was showing you all types of ways to grow hydroponically indoors. And I mean, he was awesome. It was awesome. Said Phoenix turned into track star.
Yes, I won from animals. I won from butterflies. I don't care. They was ugly little caterpillars before.
We need to put our bare feet on the land. That's a lot of stuff we need to do. Like they attacked us from every angle they can think of. We need to attack this from every angle that you can think of. Just being for real. Because the war just begun. We just not getting started. Folks just not starting to figure out what's going on. They're starting to see who they are. And then a lot of people say, for those that's not awoke, yet they're not going to be awoke. I understand that, but it's still a lot of people that ain't even heard about this stuff. When I was working yesterday, every time I get a few minutes with someone after they done got their order or something, most people be like, I ask them like, yo, you got grandma in your family? And Indian in your family. And one young man was like, my grandmama a straight Indian. She knows exactly who she is. She know where she come from and everything. And he was just talking, and then one of the older fellas came in, and he was like, he never heard of none of that. He never heard of them being from Africa. He never heard of being Indian. So it goes to show what we know and what we don't know, and who doesn't know. But the older fellow was like, hey, I would like to know. So it's still a lot of people that don't even have a clue that people are having these discussions every day. That we're telling people who they are, and a lot of people don't even have a clue. I know a lot of you all out in the chat, when you talk to people, they be like, what? Yeah, my grandma is Indian. Then you ask them where black come from, and then it just puts a whole question mark in somebody's brain. Like, man, where do we come from, and how did we get here? So it's just it's a great conversation to have. Fellas, if you're at the barbershop, it's a good conversation to have, especially talking to the barber while you're not getting your hair cut, while he's cutting somebody else's hair. It's a good conversation to have. It's just a lot. So make sure that you, if you can, just tell people, hey, just ask them a few questions. You ain't got to go all in, but ask them. It starts great conversations. And just to know, you wouldn't imagine where this conversation go. I'm not talking about getting aggressive with nobody. If somebody start bucking, we African, let them have it. Let them have it. It's nothing to get to fighting over, to get in your emotions over. Just be you. Grandma would feed her garden plenty leftover watermelon, eggshells, fruit, skins. Nothing was waste. That's right. Compost. Potatoes won't grow in the same temp as tomatoes. Check that out. Tomatoes won't grow in the same temp as tomatoes. All right. So yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot when you're dealing with the garden. It's just a lot. Period. My grandma said she never learned about slave until she went to school. Wow, that's tough. Never heard nothing about slaves until they went to what? Y'all mean to tell me we were slaves? It's my first time hearing this. Let me go home and tell grandma. All that right now. That's right. So you have a lot of people in the chat that's growing. It's a great time to grow, because after all these stimulus packages come and people go buy them new TVs and go finance a car, whatever they go do with it, go buy them some clothes. And we get through this hot summer, And just to say, I'm not saying, but y'all know how flu season come right back around again come fall. And if this was to happen again, would you have enough food to make it? That's the $1 million question. And water and just fertilizer for her plants. Okay. So everybody's on them plants. Let me see if I can find. Everybody talking about eating some good veggies and fruits. They talking about compost. People are talking about, let me see what she say. I know a lot of people don't be looking at the chat. Someone said their grandmother used eggshells, and water in a jar as fertilizer for her house plants. Bananas, star fruit, tomatoes, onions, all veggies. Yeah, I think everybody need to get on it. I think everybody need to get on it immediately. Well, you're gonna hope you did anyway. So what else going over there? What's going on, y'all? Y'all got any people having problem with gardens? Anybody got any quick answers to help them out? Since we talking about gardening, I ain't no professional gardener. My watermelons didn't get big enough last year. The strawberries grow real good. Let me see. The cucumbers grow real good. Let me see. The honeydew melons didn't do good at all. And I think the cantaloupes didn't do good. They grow, but they didn't get right. So I'm gonna try it again this year and see if I can get them watermelons all big and right. Somebody's okay. They're really gonna get mad when everyone start running on gardens. Yeah, that's what we was just talking about. Awake the Red Pit. They're gonna start trying to make ordinances and stuff like that, which I think is the best thing to do is grow your own food. I think when you're moving to rent a home or buy a home, I think not just the home, I will look at the yard as well to play a very important part in growing them groceries. And if you have an apartment, if you have extra space or a whole room, I would take the room and start growing in that room or a pantry or something and start learning how to grow inside. So it's a lot of ways you can attack it, but I think if everyone started attacking it now, and maintain it when hard times was to ever come again, it would be no problem. Be no problem at all. Any questions about gardeners? I show and teach gardening for free. There it is. Saved and okay. Sanctified. Well, he got them groceries over there, y'all. He's showing you how to grow them and learning if you're willing to teach. Who might to get him on here? You can't click the link saved, and we asked you a few questions about them groceries. Oh no, Phoenix beat me to it. Yeah, saved. Come on, man, hit the link. Drop the link one more time for him, Phoenix, and let him hit that link one time. Maybe we can ask him some questions about them groceries. I mean, them I call them groceries. There it is. If you see the chat right down in Phoenix Moon, Save, could you click that and come on in and give us some tell us about where we can come find you and different things like that. Let us get some tips.
Yeah, you can just click that link, saved and sanctified, if you have a moment, and you can give us some gardening tips. Certainly, if you have a channel, drop your channel so we can send some traffic over there and give us some tips. We'd appreciate it. Like I said, this is an open forum, so anything for the edification, jump on in.
Come on in. Mm-hmm.
Yes, indeed, Chelsea. We're trying to keep well during this time. Um, if anybody has any, oh, there he is. Hold on, we got the good brother. Hold on 1 second.
Alito, good brother. How's it going?
You have to unmute your mic, beloved, whenever you're ready. How are you? Thank you for joining.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I've been listening to you for years. And when you start talking about gardening, that's what I do. I do gardening. I do growing food. I grow medicine. I grow everything, bananas, potatoes. I do everything. I teach people farming for free. I'm currently in Florida.
That's wonderful. That's
Awesome.
wonderful. Do you have a website or a channel where we can view some of the things that you're teaching?
I have one channel. It's like spiritual. Um it has like satire. I do gardening as well on that channel. But if anybody want one-on-one time to talk to me, I talk to you. I'll walk you through the whole process of starting your garden. You tell me your circumstances, and I tell you how to grow food. I don't do hydroponics, but if you want to grow in buckets, I grow food in buckets. I have tomatoes. I have all different stuff I'm growing.
That's wonderful. What is the channel so I can put it in the chat so
It,
that people can contact you?
it's saved and sanctified.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Got it.
Yeah,
So
if
that's
they
going
need,
to be saved and sanctified on YouTube. So check this
yeah,
brother's channel out.
yeah, it's satire. It's some spiritual stuff, and I do gardening because I'm gonna go to my garden a little bit to do some water because right now I'm grow onions, I grow potatoes, I have summer squash, butternut squash. But if anybody has individual questions, like the brother just said that he had problems with his honeydew melons and so on, I can talk to you over the phone, you see, and I can tell you exactly what's going on with you.
Oh,
Anybody.
that's what's up. That's what's
Yeah,
up.
I don't charge money. I've been doing this for years because I had videos up before I took it down and I put it up. But like I say, I do everything I do is free of charge. Is to help people. In the times that we're living in. Because I've been following you and other people for years, you know, and I respected it as growing food because right now I have collard greens, I have cabbage, I have onions because I grow in my backyard, and it's another area that I grow. Star fruit, bananas, I have Suriname cherry, I deal with plants for medicine, all different things I deal with. So if anybody want to a consult, like I wouldn't say consultation because it's money. You can email me at bushmanfitru@hotmail.com. You give me your contact information and I'll talk to you on the phone. I tell you where you tell me where you're located. I tell you the last frost, what you do, and I can tell you how to get your garden growing, how to grow it, and what you're not doing. And I don't charge anybody a penny.
That's dope.
Yeah, because I put stuff on my video on my channel. So a lot of times it's you know, I talk about the growing food twin flame, I think, but it's like it's like in a comical way. You see what I'm saying? But I do gardening, I do a little bit of everything on that channel. But if anybody wants to talk to me about growing food, that's my passion. I grow food in buckets. You give me your circumstances, you tell me what you want to grow, and I tell you how to do it cost effectively. If you want to do it organic, like with the garbage and stuff like that, I can give you ideas and you get at me. Like I said, I don't charge anybody a penny. So you want to grow your watermelons, your cantaloupes, I can tell you about if you need to get your soil tested. I can look at the soil and read it and tell you what you need to do. Because right now
Oh,
I
go
grow
ahead.
corn. Right now I have corn growing, sweet corn. I have tomatoes, string beans, the long beans, all that different stuff. Because I'm going to go to my big garden today and I'm going to put up some videos on my channel about it. So you'll see it and not just me talking. Like if you look at my channel, I have some videos. I have some cabbage there and stuff like that. So you see the garden in pots. So if you living on a balcony, you know, and you don't have the space, you can do stuff in there. I tell you how you can, even if you can't, like if you live on the 15th floor, right, in New York City or somewhere, and you don't have a way outside, if you have a terrace, I'll show you how you can make soil, like burying your kitchen scraps, even digging some dirt out the park and just cover it in that bucket or the grow bags. I use grow bags, you know, so I do all of that stuff. So you can contact me, like my email, leave your contact number, and I would definitely call you. No joke.
That's what's up. Phoenix put your she put his information in the chat. Make sure you reach out, click on him and subscribe to his page and check out what he got to offer. And
Yeah. So, brother, what state are you in?
I'm in Georgia.
Okay, so you in zone 8?
Say that one more time.
Are you in zone 8? 8B? You in South Georgia?
No, I'm in mid Georgia. I'm in Atlanta area.
Okay, so you have like I would guess like a clay.
Right. I got clay. Right.
Yeah. The best way to combat clay is like you say, the compost, the leaves, and you will want to get your soil tested. Yeah, like the soil pH, because a lot of times if the soil pH is off, you won't be able to grow certain vegetables. So you can get your soil tested and take it to the county extension office, and they can tell you how to amend it, because years ago as the old folks did, because clay soil is mainly acidic. So you would have to do as the old folks would say, sweeten the ground, where you would add the lime. But in Florida, many of our soils tend to be alkaline. So you wouldn't want to add lime. You can add wood ashes. That would help to raise the pH. So like I say, if you email me and you call me, I can give you I can talk to you on the phone for an hour and tell you all the things. But clay, you're going to get some compost, manure, because from what I'm seeing, they may have came up, but they didn't run, or they didn't get any size.
Right. They came up and they was like the size of a softball.
Yeah, you can use the fish emulsion, you can use coffee grinds that will enrich the soil, because a lot of time you can use composted chicken manure. You can bury it, like as old folks years ago, they would put the manure on the garden and then leave it there for the fall, right? And then in the spring they would plow it up and then they'll plant it. So like I say, it's a whole science in farming, because I'm growing butternut squash now. I got summer squash, because in the area where I'm in Florida, we garden year round, but it's a science.
Right.
Because right now, like 90, 95 degrees, and the next week is going to get cool. But where you are in Georgia, you wouldn't plant those hot crops until like the first, second week of April, because it could be hot, it could be cold, it could be hot. But up north,
Right, right.
that's
That's
like,
why we said we just turn the dirt. This the time where we just turn our dirt over and get everything ready for next the first or second week of April.
right, because that hard clay, you have to add copious amounts of organic matter like leaves and rotten leaves and stuff like that, because and the compost that helps to create the microorganisms in the soil to help change the soil texture. And you could also add gypsum, which would change the texture of the soil, that is not so heavy with clay, and you can keep your soil mulched. That way it's not hard like concrete. Because Georgia, you have that hard Georgia clay, and you can do what's known as double digging. You know, like you dig it like 9 inches, and then the area that's left behind, you can add compost there and then backfill it and add compost. That will help the soil texture as well. So add a lot of compost, and that will help the soil texture, because that dirt can be hard as concrete.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
Yeah, I know. And because when they would farm, they would have to get on the tractor, they would have to put a chisel plow and go through. Then you have other areas in Georgia that have that sand. It's pure sand. Because in Florida, where I am, you have sand and then you have the muck in certain areas. But where I am is in Central Florida, you have sand. So I bought in a lot of compost, a lot of chicken manure, and my soil is very black here. So I have bananas, I have Suriname cherry, lemons, guavas, everything you could think of. The thing with farming and gardening, if you don't have ideal conditions, is thinking outside of the box. That's the most important part, is to think outside of the box. If one thinks that they can't do it, they'll never be able to do it. That's very important, to be able to think outside of the box.
That's dope. That's dope. What you think about making boxes for like the elderly so they don't have to bend over?
Yeah, that can be done as well. Like I said, growing in grow bags. That's very beneficial, because a lot of people work jobs and they don't have time to be going out there with the hoe. And you can just put your stuff in buckets, and you can grow your vegetables like that. You can put it up on a post. You can do all of that. And then, there's different YouTube videos that can show you how to do all of that. Yeah, you can do all of that.
What you said the name of the place was, the county place to check the soil?
You will go to your county extension office.
Extension office.
What you would do is you would get soil samples, right, of your yard, like in a zigzag form, in a zigzag place, and you would get the bags and you would take it to your county extension. See, a lot of times our grandparents years ago who farm, they every year or so they will go to the county extension office, and that will tell them their soil pH, the nitrogen, the phosphorus, the potassium, and so forth. So a lot of time when you buy conventional fertilizers, all you are getting is nitrogen, because like when you buy fertilizer, you see those 3 numbers, nitrogen. The nitrogen is the first letter. That's for the leaf growth. Phosphorus is for the stems and the blossoms, and the potassium also helps it as well. That's why bananas, they require a lot of potassium, and that's why people who are on dialysis can't have the potassium. Because right now, I'm in my garden. I'm going to see if I can turn the camera around to see if it shows the other way. Let me see. Oh no, it's not there. Well,
yeah, just hit the settings. Where it say Cam and Mike.
Okay, because I'm on a phone. Oh, flip. Okay, here it is. Yeah, right now I'm in my pot garden in pots. So these are tomatoes. I planted them like 2 weeks ago. I have about 30 pots right here. So I have tomatoes, I have peppers, I have eggplants. This is like dry thing compost. These are my bananas. I have a bunch of banana over there. I have Suriname cherry. This is a melon. This is corn right now. This is a Suriname cherry over here. This is a big Suriname tree. This is very high in antioxidants. So people who suffer from vitamin C, this is very good for you. And the leaves is very good for respiratory issues.
What's the name of that tree again?
Suriname cherry. I'm going to get closer for you to see it. This is Suriname cherry. Because that's so I'm supposed to have somebody come over here today to pick some. But this is very high in antioxidant. This lemon, this is Maya lemon. And over here I have the other place I have some what you call runner beans, the beans that run on the fence. See, this is corn. You see, like if you live in sandy soil, you can make your rows low to furrow. That way when you water, the water stays in it. And the best time to water your garden is like 4 o'clock in the morning at night. But
right.
it does, you don't lose the water. So right now, these are my collard greens. These are the big leaf collard greens, what they call Georgia. You see them? I watered these like 3 or 4 o'clock this morning. See, this is my small garden. I haven't gone to my big garden yet. See over there, the tree over there is a star fruit tree. This is mango, and this is the guava tree. So these are huge. This is the mango is blossoming now. I picked some last week and gave it to a friend of mine. I have the melons growing in between.
And you did all this in a very small lot. You're not on no 100-acre lot, and you got a full garden going on.
Right. Yeah, this is the backyard. My other garden, the big garden, like on my channel, so my small garden, big garden. My other garden is like a 1/4 acre.
Yeah.
So,
that's them some grocery. Yeah, that's
yeah.
Work.
Yeah, I do it by hand. These are cabbages here. These are cabbages. These are honeydew melons. In between there, that's a honeydew melon because I'm going to grow them. These are bok choy. And this is callaloo. This thing here, this is callaloo. This is also known as amaranth. And by other places, it's known as baji or callaloo in Jamaica. Other places, Africa, they call it amaranth. But this has more nutrients and nutrition than the regular spinach. This is bok choy. This is growing, I didn't pick it. And these is more cabbages. So I have, these are melons here. I'm going to grow them to grow trellis over the fence. So a lot of time also people grow food. And another thing that plagues them is the insect. So it'll grow really good and then it'll get plagued by insects. So I can, assist people on pest and disease management. But brother, you can take your soil to the county extension office because, like I say, a lot of people don't know about it because we've gotten, we've gotten away from that type of stuff.
We're gonna look for a job. We ain't thinking about working in the backyard no more. Yeah,
going to the gardeners. The old folks say, "Well, I'm getting ready to get the ground together."
That's right.
I'm going to get me some lime. So you didn't know what they was talking about. People thought they was talking about a fruit lime. Lime, you got dolomite lime because a lot of places in America, the soil is acidic. So they might say, well, I'm going to sweeten the ground where they add lime to it because pH level stands for potential hydrogen. If the pH level is off in your soil, the plants cannot get the amount of nutrients that they need. So if your pH level is not right, your plants are going to grow stunted. No matter how much compost, no matter how much fertilizer you put, you won't be successful. You see this corn I'm growing here? See, this is just in my little backyard. You see there's a little bit of insect damage.
Got a lot of grocery growing in your little backyard. And that's what I was trying to tell everyone. If you got just a little bit of yard space, you can do a lot. You did a lot in your backyard, a very lot.
Yeah, this is my small garden. I'm gonna go over to my big garden today. But see the insect damage on the corn? This is known as caterpillars. So once you get it early, I'm going to get something called BT, which is Bacillus thuringiensis. Once the caterpillars ingest it, they'll stop eating and they'll die. And I also use pyrethrin. I try to do organic garden as much as possible, but in the South, in tropical areas, it's very difficult for pest management. You see?
Mm-hmm.
So, I did organic for a couple years, but a lot of times that don't work. What did our grandparents use? They used 7. And when they went to cook it, they said, go wash it off real good. And they lived to be 80, 90 years old. So right now I haven't had to use it, but I use pyrethrin. Some people use soapy water. It's whatever works for you. Sometime after you have exhausted all of the organic options, if you're growing this garden for food, you're going to do what you need to do to eat. That's all I got to say.
That's right. That's right.
This is the melons here. And I'll let you see my these are Georgia collards. So these are huge. These leaves are huge. And this is a pomegranate tree. Like again, this is my pot garden. These are like 30 pots, and this is an area. So like I say, if you can't grow out in the garden, if the elderly, you have disability, you can't be doing all that bending, you can get some grow bags, you can get you some 5-gallon buckets, and you can grow you some stuff in these buckets right here. If you're living in New York on a trellis, a backyard, you living in the concrete jungle, you can grow this here.
There it is.
You live in a walk up, you live on the 15th floor, you got a balcony or something like that, you can get your food scraps, you can even get some dirt from in front of your building, and put your garbage in it, go to the fish market, get the scales, the guts. That's very high in nitrogen, and you just keep the stuff buried. And you can create your own soil, potato skins and stuff like that, because you might not have a florist or garden shop in your neighborhood. So you might not be able to buy topsoil. You see what I'm saying? So you can make your own soil. Like when you
guys see something about that with the top and making your own soil. So what if, say everybody just ran down to the store and bought me 30 bags of topsoil? Would that should I dig a hole out the red clay and just pour the topsoil in it?
Well, topsoil, what happens is it's the quality of topsoil that you're getting.
Right.
A lot of that stuff, they just get that from like sites that they building on construction, and they put it in bags. And a lot of time, again, the pH on that stuff might be off. So it's there. So best for you to get is if you have some farms, like farms out in the country, then people might get it from the farms, you know what I'm saying? Then they say, oh, well, they inject the animals with so much of hormones and blah, blah, blah. Like I say, it's 6 on one and a half a dozen on the other. So, you try to get it with animals or not fed hormones, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, the air we breathe is poison. So,
right.
You do the best you can. So these are like 30 pots. And this is like let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10. This is like a 10 by 5 area, and I have like 38 pots here. And these are pots. So if you was growing in the garden, you would need much more space than this.
Right.
Yeah. I also plant herbs for different sickness and, different things like that. This is my therapy.
You're doing a very good job at it. I see that.
Yeah, because I have string beans on the other side, and this garden here, this is a lot. My other garden is where I have summer squash, butternut squash, Like I said before, onions, tomatoes, kale, all that stuff I have at my other garden.
A lady named Vicky Simmons asked, "What did you say for pest control? What you was putting on for pest control?"
It depends. It depends on what the pest issue is. I try to use natural stuff as possible, but sometimes organic doesn't always work. Depends on the leaf. Sometimes you can use. I use something sometime called Captain Jack's. That's organic. Some people even use something called diatomaceous earth, food grade. What it is like the shells of in the ocean. I forgot what it is, and they grind it up. So as the insects crawl across it, it cuts up their exoskeleton.
Mm.
Yeah, diatomaceous earth. There's plenty of videos on YouTube about it. But although it's natural, it's an indiscriminate pesticide. So if the bees or pollinators come across it, it can destroy them as well.
So you got to be super careful.
Right. Yeah. You got some people use soap water, vegetable oil. Yeah, peppermint oil is good too. I've heard of peppermint oil. But in my situation, that stuff don't work. Like in temperate climates, it work. They tell you to plant marigolds and plant onions and garlic around certain crops. The smell of it keeps things away. All known as companion planting. I've done all of that where I live. Sometimes that stuff don't work. Yeah, I heard of praying mantis and ladybugs. They eat the bad insects, but you have to be careful about bringing that in certain areas because in Florida sometimes that's illegal because it messes up.
Mm. I'm soaking it all in, brother. I'm soaking it all in. I'm like, okay. I'm over here visualizing what I need to do to get my garden back.
You can talk until you are out of breath. As far as I'm concerned, this is so dope and so interesting. I'm glad you was watching this morning. This is like the a special surprise that we have to have you on here. This information is completely valuable. You are welcome on the No Grandma Killers channel at any time. Anytime.
Thank you. I've been watching your show for years.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I've been watching your show for years and years. From Dark Man X, and then I seen you. I've been watching you for years. But yeah, like natural pesticides and stuff like that. Even though these things are natural, they're indiscriminate killers. They can kill anything they come in contact with. Like I said, our grandparents used to use 7 dust. So a lot of times, if you have a problem with aphids, they would just go and kill everything. And then when they bring it out the garden, go out there and wash it off real quick. I just put some 7 on it. And our grandpas lived at 80, 90 years old. None of us are 80 and 90. So they live far longer than us.
That's right. Again, that's right.
You know, before there was 7 dust, there was something called carbaryl. You know, that's the leading ingredient in 7 dust. Because the people don't understand, growing a vegetable garden, the objective is being able to eat.
That's so you have, that's right.
So these people are, oh no, I don't want to put that there. I don't want to put those poisons out there. Yeah, we understand that. But if your belly meeting your backbone, that's a horse of another color. You see what I'm saying? I don't want to have to use these things, but if I don't use them, those bugs will eat my garden down overnight. You see, and also like when you have your garden, sometimes if you have things that are infested with insects, you can remove them to the side and burn it. But again, if you living in Brooklyn, you start a fire, the fire department coming. So you got to use discretion, you know, and also stink bugs and different things like that. You know, it can be a problem. So like I say, you know, one remedy like what I do, it may not be, you might have to not do all of what I do here, because whenever you're in the tropics or in a warm climate, you're always going to have a higher pest pressure. So if you're living in New York, you may not have to do everything that I'm doing here, because here in the tropics is, more subtropical, is more difficult to grow food, because where I live from October to like April is known as is spring here. So growing food here, if you would plant your regular spring garden from April here, it's already too hot. I put out my tomatoes and stuff like that since February. I started them as seedlings in January. So by May, June, my garden is already in production. So you have to know the science of knowing what to grow and when to plant it. You see? And like during the summer months when it's like 95 degrees and hotter, you grow okra, hot peppers, sweet potatoes, those things which can take the heat. Or you get what is known as heat tolerant varieties like Florida 91. And because when it gets too hot, tomatoes and things shut off. So if you get the Florida 91, that can still produce at 90 degrees and higher. So like I say, it's all about thinking outside of the box. So even a lot of time your grandparents who go, well, I never seen my daddy do it like that. You see what I'm saying? But it could be done. It's all about thinking outside the box. I'm a person that thinks outside of the box. I do things, like the old way, the wisdom, but I always add things to it. But I never seen my daddy do it like that. You see what I'm saying? That's a lot of pushback that you get. Well, I never saw my grandfather do it like that. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of times, humans, we always revert back to childhood for experience, either negative or positive.
Anything that left a emotional impact or something, a remembrance.
Right. We always revert back to childhood.
Mm-hmm.
I never saw my father do that. I never saw my mother do it. Like, I never seen my daddy do it like that, but that don't mean that is necessarily wrong. Because years ago, like, the reason why people used to use they used to get all their garbage, their leaves and, rotten meats, food that they didn't cook, and throw it out in the garden. That's excellent fertilizer. Leaves and the fish guts and stuff, and they would take it and bury it. That's very good fertilizer. Because back then people didn't have money. Some people didn't have money to buy fertilizer. And when you did that, you had better fertilizer, you had better soil because it was all organic than people who use fertilizer. When you use fertilizer is like taking vitamins. You can take vitamins, but you're not getting anything out of it. You need food. So when you add organic matter to your soil, that helps, because once you use fertilizer for so many years, that kills the soil. Years ago, people would use fertilizer, and they would use this garden for a couple of years until, the soil eventually wouldn't yield anything, and then they would go to another area. But if you added the manure or the crop residue after your corn grows, and you return that residue back to the soil, that helps to enrich the soil. You see what I'm saying? A lot of our grandparents did that, and a lot of them didn't. I tried to tell my grandfather about that, but he wasn't trying to hear it until they seen what I said. And now his wife, now she listens to everything I say about adding the grass to around your plants. That decomposes, and that also holds in moisture. Now, at the same time, when you add mulch and stuff like that in your farmland, that can also harbor insects. So there's also a catch-22. So, one thing might work for one thing, but it can harm in another. When you add the mulch, your cut grass and stuff like that, that can hold in the moisture and cool down the soil temperature. But the insects trying to get away from the sun too. So they harbor underneath that, and they can also multiply. So you have to be conscious. So all organic methods may work, but sometimes you have to mix and see what works for you. As long as you get results, that's what counts. Yeah, fish guts. The fish guts, the people here used to use fish guts. Indians, they used to use the fish guts and the fish heads. They would bury it in the garden. When they plant corn, they would bury the whole fish. You plant potatoes and different things like that over it. You can make your own fish emulsion. Go to the fish market, get you the fish guts, get a high power blender, blend it up, add the molasses to it, the sugar. Eggshells is good too. Eggshells add calcium, but it smells to high heaven. You can even get the eggshells and grind them up, dry them and grind them up in the powder and sprinkle that in your garden. But yeah, and you blend up that and you add the macronutrient, which is going to be the molasses or the sugar, or some people add milk, and you let that ferment for like a month, 3 months. Like I say, there's YouTube videos that show you how, but a lot of stuff, the videos they make stuff so technical, and it's not really that necessary. I try to break stuff down in layman's terms. I might give you the technical stuff, but break it down where you can understand it. Sometimes people make things, it's so technical and it's not that serious.
Dirty and grind, grandma use banana.
Yeah, sometimes the coffee grinds does keep away pests, but where I live, that will call in all the fire ants from every nation. Like I said, it's different. Yeah, the coffee grinds, that helps to keep away insects, but it depends on where you live. If you have a place that's like sandy soil, like where I am, any type of food stuff you leave, it'll call them in. And like if you add like food scraps, it's always good to bury them, because if you leave it just on top, that helps to attract vermin to your place. And fruit flies, you always want to bury your food scraps and leave it there for like 6 weeks before it's able to break down. So it takes like 6 weeks because it breaks down faster than actually composting. That's what's also known like as bokashi and composting and different things like that. But if you bury it for like, it takes like 6 weeks in order for the stuff to, to decompose. If you're living in New York, when I used to live in New York, we used to plant our gardens around Memorial Day, late April. Now I talk to my family, they can't get their garden started until like June, July. So climate change and all these other things have happened. Because I used to live in New York 20 years ago, and over 20 years ago, I seen the things start to change. You would turn the soil over in April, late March, early April, and be able to plant. Now it's you're in June and July up there. So if you're gonna put your food scraps down, it takes time in order to decompose, and that's cutting into the growing.
That's why you want to start way ahead of time before you start actually planting your seeds. You want to go ahead and start getting that soil right.
Right. Yeah, because even if say you're living in Brooklyn, New York City, or Queens, the last frost date is like around the last of April. New York, they can't put a garden in until like late May. Right? So a rule of thumb, you want to start your vegetable seedlings at least 6 to 8 weeks before the last frost. So here I started my stuff like in January and put it out in like late February, April. In April, you can, in New York, in Jersey, and places, rule of thumb, people plant their stuff around Mother's Day. But if it's 50, 55 degrees in April, you can't really get nothing going. It's just going to stay there. It's not when you're going to grow. It hasn't really, from what I've seen, the temperature in New York, it takes longer and longer to heat up, and sometimes it doesn't really get that hot up there. So if it doesn't get that hot up there, you have to grow crops that's going to do good. Cabbage, potatoes, onions, and things like that, which will grow, because that's what they grow a lot of in Ireland and England, that places that don't get that hot. what's the thing that zucchini? You grow things that you have to adjust to your climate. You see what I'm saying? Adjust to climate change.
Man, y'all better be taking notes. I know I'm gonna have to go back and rewind this at least 3 times.
And you can call, you email, you can call me and I'll talk to you on the phone. Anybody can call me.
Okay, I'm gonna email you as soon as we get offline. I'm gonna email you.
Yeah. I'm here to give assistance to have people growing their, to grow their food.
That's what's up. That's as much needed. It's much needed.
Yeah, and I'm here to help people grow food. I don't take no money from nobody. I don't ask for no money or nothing. That's what I'm here for.
That's what's up. That's help getting back to who you are, knowing how to feed yourself. That's the major. That's one of the main things.
Exactly. And because my mind always goes to what did the people do before they had it?
I know that's right.
And I stay in that mindset. Like the other day in Walmart, there was no bread. And I looked over and the flour was gone. I already knew that the older people the one that buy the flour. They said, well, if no flour waste, I'll make my own bread. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I know how to make my own bread. I know how to do all this different stuff. So I know how to survive, because if you had, just like the people giving out rice and dry beans, unless you grew up with that stuff, if they gave the average person sometime between the age of 20 and 30 and 40, if they gave them a bag of dry beans, most of them wouldn't know what to do with it. Or they gave them flour. They gave you 100-pound bags of flour. They would take the flour and throw it on each other like a game. They wouldn't know what to do with it. So we got to get back to that.
That's right.
We got to get back to that. Like a young lady said she was going to make some pancakes. I said, what people did before they had pancake mix? Oh, you too old fashioned. I said, well, I know how to do it. Growing food and vegetables. I grow my own collard greens. I grow all my, grow my vegetables. You know what I'm saying? So, like again.
Yeah, I'm gonna be chopping it up with you. I got to get all that. I need to really maximize my garden this year.
Yeah, like I said, God forbid anything happen. People don't have those skills that our grandparents and great-grandparents had as survival. I listened to my grandparents. I was always around older people. That's my spirit is old, it's older, it's old. So those are things that I gravitate to. So me growing up as a child, I was an outcast because I wanted to talk about, hey, I was 11 years old. Hey, I'm getting ready to plant my garden this year. The kids looking at me like, what you talking about? You see what I'm saying? I was on other stuff.
They trying to get some gym shoes and you trying to get some fruit growing.
Yeah, but a lot of times people say you ahead of your time. And now as times come when we need it, now those people need help and assistance. But again, I'm not bad to take advantage of, the situation. If I can help you, give you the information, and then I'll go on my merry way.
Man, that's awesome. We need one of you in every community in the nation right now.
Yeah, well, like I said, we definitely can be be in for some serious times if it's not with this current situation. It's gonna happen in the future. People are going to need these things because grandma and grandma are transitioning, or they have left. The legacy of knowledge that they left, either you grasped it or you didn't.
Lost it.
Yeah, it's gone. It's gone. It's going. So people didn't, because how many times you hear people say, oh yeah, my grandmama used to say that. My grandmama used to do, but I never paid attention to what she was actually saying. Because they wanted to go outside and play. They wanted to go to the girl house. They wanted to go to the boy house.
They wanted some money.
Yeah, make some money, do whatever. And then because a lot of time with my family now, they always ask me, hey, how you do so and so and so? How so and so? Oh yeah, you do it, because this stuff is like breathing to me. When you breathe, you don't think about it. You just do it.
Repetition. You've been doing it all your life.
Yeah, exactly. It's no effort. Oh, you do this like this. You do this like this. It's no effort to me. Growing this and what time of year they used to do this and how they did that. That stuff is ingrained in me. It's no thinking. I said, oh, that's what you're talking about? Oh, blah, 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 blah. You see what I'm saying? So anybody need help and information, I'm here to help. To try to pass this information on to help for growing food is very, very important in the times we live in. Very important.
This is deep. Because the little garden I did, I mean, it fed with the whole house ate off of it, but it wasn't to the extent to where everything I grow came out right. The vegetables did very well.
Yeah, what things did you grow that did well for you?
Everything except for the fruits. The fruits is what I've been having my major issue with. Now the strawberries, they came back the next year. This is the year before last. The strawberries came back very well. The first year I planted the strawberries, they didn't bloom at all. But the next year, they came out like big as ever, and a lot of them. But the watermelon, like I said, it didn't get no bigger than, and I thought I had, prepped the soil ahead of time and got everything ready, and they didn't get no bigger than, like I said, a softball. But
Yeah.
but like the cucumbers and all that other stuff, that stuff came up very well. It was just mainly the watermelon that I was having problems with, because I got very big boys, and I figured if I can get a good garden of watermelons going, that's good for them to, you know what I'm saying, with the watermelons, that'll be good for them, especially on the summertime.
Yeah. What type of fertilizer did you put for the watermelons? What garden prep did you do for them?
I don't think we used. Did we use fertilizer? I don't think we used fertilizer. We had got some expensive soil, topsoil, and we just tried to keep them watered on time, before the sun came out. And right after the sun went down, we'll try to water them every day and just keep the weeds and stuff out the garden.
If your other stuff did good, then you just had to eat, because watermelon are heavy feeders. What happened is, what you could do, try this year, you can get you an organic fertilizer. You want it high in phosphorus, high in potassium. You don't want too much nitrogen, because if you have too much nitrogen, the watermelons are growing. Then when you cut into them, they're white inside.
Okay.
Because all the strength is going in to producing the leaves and stuff. It's just like with tomatoes. If it's too much nitrogen, the tomatoes will take forever and ever and ever to ripen. Okay. And you will have beautiful plants with no tomatoes. So what I use is a Bill's fertilizer. I use that. Or you can go to Walmart, get you some bone meal.
Some bone meal?
Yeah, you can get it from Walmart, Lowe's, or a complete fertilizer. Sometimes it's like 455. The numbers on I told you, the first number is nitrogen, the second number is phosphorus, the third number is potassium. And that's what you use, and you put like a handful in the hole when you plant your watermelons. That's organic fertilizer. Or if you want to do conventional, because sometimes organic is not always practical. You can get a 50-pound bag of fertilizer for $20. Now, if you do the conventional way, 4 pounds of fertilizer might cost you $10. So I say I leave the ball in everybody's court, because if you got to feed people, and grandma had 40 kids they had to feed, and they had $5, and they had the 50-pound bag of fertilizer. What they was going to do? They were going to buy that 50-pound bag of fertilizer for $5.
That's right. You about to feed them, everybody about to eat.
Exactly. Now you can supplement and bury your kitchen scraps and all that stuff. Now, unless you live by a produce stand and you picking up all that garbage and bury it in your garden, that takes time to break down. When you put that fertilizer, now if either it's conventional fertilizer or it is organic fertilizer. Now you can get a handful, right? Now to try it this year, put you the compost in the holes, because you plant your watermelons about 4 feet apart, right? And you dig that hole and you put that handful of fertilizer and mix it in with the compost, your watermelon should do good this year. Because if your other crops did good, they just needed some more food. That's all.
I'm on it. I'm on it. I'm on it. Thank you for the information.
More food. Because you can use fish emulsion, and because with that you want a well-balanced fertilizer. Because like I say, those numbers on the fertilizer or plant food bag is very important. If you growing like cabbage, collard greens, any type of leafy vegetable, and you buying fertilizer, you want something with a high number because that's nitrogen. That's what those leafy vegetables need. Now, if you growing string beans, you don't want too much nitrogen because all you're going to get is leaves. You want beans, so you need a lot of phosphorus. So you can add that bone meal. You want a fertilizer with a higher middle number. You see what I'm saying? And a lot of time when it rains, the rain brings down nitrogen. So a lot of time that rain can make your string beans all bushy with nab. As old folks say, that man, them string beans came up with nab bean on them because there's too much nitrogen. Yeah. So that's very important. So what you do when you plant your watermelons, get you a handful of fertilizer, if it's the organic kind or the conventional kind, put you a handful and mix it up well deep in the soil. And you should have, you should get good watermelons this year. If everything else did good, they just needed some more food.
Oh, I'm on it.
Yeah,
as long as it got less nitrogen, so I'm getting the fertilizer with least because I'm feeding the watermelons and cantaloupes, so they just need more food to eat.
Right, yeah, you need nitrogen, but you want something with not too much, because you can add a product called ammonium sulfate, right?
Right, I know about it.
Yeah, ammonium sulfate is 21% nitrogen. That's very good if you can put like a cap full around your collard greens, they'll grow overnight. If you grow corn, which is heavy nitrogen feed, it's like if you have soil that's low in nitrogen, you can put that in there. You can put that around your kale, and it's organic, supposed to be organic. That stuff. But if you put that around your watermelons, you're gonna have vines all over the place, and they're watermelon on it because all the strength is going in to make the leaves. You see what I'm saying? Once you understand those 3 numbers that come on the fertilizer package, nitrogen, which is the first number, second number is phosphorus is the second number. The third number is potassium. So like potatoes, like you see people that's on dialysis, they can't have things with potassium. Potatoes require a high amount of potassium. You can buy something called muriate of potash, which it doesn't have nitrogen. Phosphorus is just potassium, which is 60% potassium, and you'll have good sweet potato crop and good potatoes. Anything that grows underground or tuber, you can have that, because ground crops need a lot of phosphorus and potassium. Sweet potatoes, turnips, white potatoes, all that stuff, yams, all that stuff need high phosphorus and potassium. That's the main thing to keep in mind. Because if it have too much nitrogen, you have beautiful plant, but nothing underneath it.
But nothing to eat, yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful, but ain't no grocery. I got you.
Yeah, and that's the point of growing a garden, to eat.
That's right.
That's the point.
That's the whole point.
Not to look at it, to eat it, to have food. Some people get, like you can do the conventional. Now, you see, if you have a small backyard garden, you can ask your neighbors, like for their food scraps, the restaurants. It depends on how far you want to go. If you want to, go to the produce stands and get their food scraps, the peelings, or if you real hardcore, go to the dumpster and get the peelings out of there and put in your bag. It depends on how driven you are. You see what I'm saying? You know what you're doing. Don't pay attention to nobody else. The food, the fish stands, and you get that stuff and you dig a trench and you bury that stuff, you have good soil, but that stuff takes 6 weeks to break down. If you have a short growing season, the ground is frozen solid, obviously that's not an option for you. But where I live, if a place, or you in Georgia and you got a place that say you're gonna put there in a summer garden, right? You can get all that stuff, like all these hardware produce stands and all these different places, right? And you get that stuff and you bury it, it's gonna stay there for a while, and then you can plant that stuff later on. That stuff helps you to it'll be okay, in the future when you plant it there. Now, if you have a small backyard garden, and as soon as the earth can be worked, do you have 6 weeks? Or if you put it there in the fall of the year, for the next year, a lot of people would pick up rotten leaves and stuff and leave it there over the winter. And by the next year, this stuff is good garden soil.
Right.
Now, me, I can put rotten leaves down because I can grow here year round. So you have to do all that stuff adjusted for your current conditions.
Right. I got you.
That stuff is very important, and to know what is your agricultural zone. Are you in zone 8, zone 7, zone 6? That way you know what's your last frost day and give it like a 2-week window in case you have a late frost.
So each state has a different zone, is what you're saying?
Yeah, each area, wherever you are.
Throughout the whole United States.
Right. No matter where you are in the United States, Puerto Rico, whatever, it has a agricultural zone. Either you in zone 9, where I am is zone 9B, 10, where you probably are is probably between 6 and 7. All that stuff is good to know, because if you grow onions are grown by daylight. You see what I'm saying? One part of Georgia, south part of Georgia, you plant onions in the fall, where another part you might plant them in the fall. You see what I'm saying? Is the variety and type of onions you plant. Everybody just don't plant onions in the spring. There's a way you could do that, but you got short day onions, you got long day onions, and you got intermediate day onions. You see what I'm saying? I planted my onions in the fall and early part of this year. You see what I mean? So like I say, everything is a science.
Yes, it is.
When to plant that stuff. Once you go and you know what's your USDA zoning law, you can Google it and you put your area code. It'll tell you where you are, what's your last frost and first frost, and you have an idea of the growing window. But hey, we know we have climate change and all those things too. So like when you look at seed catalogs and you want to grow certain fruit trees, you got to know what zone you are in, because fruit trees need a certain amount of cold weather in order to grow. When I am in Florida, certain fruit trees can't grow here.
Gotcha.
So people say, oh, I had a nice peach, I got it from Georgia. It's not going to grow here. Or where you are, it might get too cold for that fruit tree.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
I got a big pear tree.
Yeah. So if you go to your county extension office, ask anybody on the chat, and you could live in Virginia and nothing is growing for you, you don't know what's going on. Go to your county extension service, because they might be surprised to see you, because most people don't do that. Go to your extension service and tell them you want a soil sample, and they can tell you and tell them what you want to grow. And they'll tell you exactly what the issue is. They may give you the conventional way, right? And then you can look to see what are organic alternatives. You see what I'm saying? And that's it, because a lot of time people plow up a whole garden and buy the prettiest plants and put them in the soil ain't together. Soil is great, or as old folks say, well, get that ground together. Once that ground is together, then you can be successful. That's very important.
Can't do nothing unless that ground right.
Yeah, got to get that ground ready. This time of year, people put in string beans and all that other stuff. How many of y'all remember Easter time, y'all had, what was it, potatoes and string beans for Easter, right? Yeah, around Easter time, that's what was there. Because that was the first thing that was ready. How many of you remember that?
No, that's absolutely correct. That's absolutely correct.
Yeah, string beans and string beans and potatoes. They make, you know, back then everybody ate pork and ham. That's what you ate for Easter, because that's one of the first things that was ready. The string beans that was overwintered, the string beans or mustard greens, that was the first thing out of the garden. You know, that's what happened. That's what it, you know, that's what it was. Do I do that today? No, but I know the foundation.
Right. You know where they come from. That's right.
You know, cornbread and stuff. Some people don't know the difference between cornmeal and cornmeal and grits.
That's right. People don't know the difference.
Yeah.
Right.
When you grind the corn, the first shaking off, the first sifting is cornmeal. The second sifting is what's known as grits. So it don't matter if it's white corn or yellow. If grits is grits. If it's yellow grits or it's white grits. Back then, the grandparents used to call it hominy grits because they used to grind hominy and make grits. Yeah.
You went in today.
Indeed, this was such a treat. This was such a treat. I see everybody in the chat. They send their thanks and well wishes to you. I dropped your channel in there, so you definitely have some new subscribers. You certainly have the open invitation to you know, come and talk on any of our channels. And I did leave the email so that you guys are able to get in touch with Saved and Sanctified. He's willing to offer his time to help people get started. And he's kind of walked us through different conditions and terrains in which, you know, you can have the garden, from the urban area in the brick city, you know, the fire escape garden, to the suburban, to the land acreage. You know, this is something that we're going to need. We don't want to be faced with, you know, any more crises that will make it difficult for us to be able to fend for ourselves. Especially, it's nobody's responsibility to feed us or even to offer some of these things that we purchase in the store that aren't really good for us anyway. We end up calling it food. You know, but definitely subscribe to this brother's channel. I hope that this was very helpful. I know for a lot of us, there are people with their pen and their pad. This is why I was so quiet. I was writing a lot of things down in the background. I definitely appreciate you. This was really an awesome build. Really an awesome build. Did you have anything you wanted to say before we close out, brother? Saved and Sanctified, did you have anything else you wanted to say before we close out on the show? Are you guys able to hear me? Drop a 1 in the chat. Coach, can you hear me? Saved and Sanctified.
I hear you real good.
Okay. Okay. Celestine, in the beginning, he did speak about being able to grow in small apartments. Actually, that kind of inspired you. Actually, inspired this conversation. I had gave you a shout out about starting, you know, the gardening things in your apartment, and then this brother came into the chat, and this is how he got online. So you was actually the inspiration for this, Celestine. If you listen to the beginning, when the brother entered, he definitely talked about with different landscapes that, you know, and platforms you'd be able to grow in. And he definitely touched on the urban part where we have these small apartments. And he also showed what would be ergonomically correct within limitations for the elders to be able to, you know, they can't do all the bending and lifting and squatting and whatnot. So he definitely had showed some different ways that would be effective for the seniors to be able to still garden and plant. So, you know, this was a chock full of information. Oh, you're welcome, sister. This was thanks for the inspiration. You kind of inspired all of this. And it just turned out wonderful. So I definitely, again, thank you so much, Saved and Sanctified, for spending time with us and turning this conversation into a wonderful training session, learning session. That was dope. That was very dope. I appreciate you. Coach, did you have anything you wanted to say before we closed out, good brother?
And I'm over here touching up, trying to get back, and I'm ready. When it's in, I gotta go back over and go over some more notes so I can get up here to this store and get me some fertilizer.
That's right.
I gotta
That,
get
I
my
would assume
soil
that that
right
is
so I can have
absolutely an essential. That's right. A complete essential.
I
So
want
everybody in the chat enjoyed this. This was really cool. Um, yeah, this was really cool. Celestine, again, you inspired this entire topic. I was so happy for you telling me about, your experiences with you growing your own food in your apartment and all of this happened. So thank you both, Celestine, also on Brothers Saved and Sanctified. Coach, always thank you for just extending your time, availability, and your great talents. And that irrefutable hustle in you. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, everybody, for spending this morning with us. Stay safe. Keep well. Now is the point where if they ain't been to your crib, don't let them in now. I wouldn't care who they are. It's over, you got to do what you got to do. You shouldn't really even be having any visitors at this point, even from, the under 10 and following those guidelines and stuff. It's best that you just kind of just stay to yourself. Hopefully you enjoy the company or at least love the people that you're locked down with right now. And hopefully this will break soon. And the minute that the weather, this situation does break, you know what we're going to do. We're going to be on the No Grandma Killers tour. We're going to resume normal everyday activities. And in the background, I won't say we'll resume normal activities because we just learned something new. And what we learned the new thing that we learned is that we can garden and we can grow our own food under any conditions, and even with respect to the different weather patterns in different areas and places. So we got something real good off this build. We're going to bring some more back. I will probably go straight to Grandma Killers later. I wanted to do some brick wall information and give you guys some different sources and perspectives on how to look for things. Not for things, but look for your ancestors when it appears that they just kind of fell off the whip. And these are some of I don't want to say that they're basic, but when you realize that there's a logical reason why you may not be able to find them and probably just being able to hear it, and then you'll just be like, oh gosh, I don't know why I didn't think of that, even though you probably did. I'm not teaching you anything that you don't already know. I'm just helping you remember the things that the ancestors already gave you, okay? So I want y'all to keep well, stay safe, build that immune system up. So when you go into these stores to get these immune systems, make sure you get stuff that's loaded with vitamin C and all good things to help you fight these things off and maintain yourself and be healthy. You don't want to just, build your immune system because there's an epidemic going around. You want to do that because good health is merely the slowest possible rate of death, okay? Let's just keep it real. We are born to die. You want to preserve your tent for as long as you can. And definitely, y'all know 75% water. 75% water. That's what a lot of people need. Make sure you continue to eat your raw fruits and vegetables and start making sense. If you're dating somebody that doesn't drink water or doesn't like vegetables, sis, dump that nigga. He can't be no good. It proves how irresponsible he is and he won't do what's good for him. If you're dealing with grown people that don't want to do what's good for them as far as their bodies and stuff is concerned, really, you can guarantee that it's going to be toxic all across the board, right? So, vitality, more life, Chapisa La Chike, love, peace, and bear grease out there. Shout out to Tasha She. African Americans ain't African. Shout out to Carrie Davis. And shout out to Johnny Aborigine. And shout out to Aboriginal Matt. And my cousin Sonny, aka Spirit Wolf Allen. Want to give him a shout out. Slim Bull, Sean Blackman, Seven Guys, Star Child, Renzo Duckworth, hey Sean Kelly, all my beautiful moderators, my cousin Liz Robinson, who isn't available right now. Little Owl, how are you, beloved? Shout out to you. Everybody, keep well, keep safe, and keep a clean heart, clear conscience, clean hands. Love, peace, and hair grease.